Today we're going to be comparing the Oneplus 7 Pro versus the Pixel 3a, and the Pixel 3a is actually more of a mid-tier phone because of the price. Now the Oneplus 7 Pro is more expensive, so that's closer to a borderline flagship model. This is the low light front facing section, and I know the sun hasn't completely settled down yet. I'll give it about an hour or so before it does, but all the pictures will be taken after the sun sets. Starting off with the front facing camera, if you're taking a portrait selfie right behind the sun, then on the Pixel 3a, you look really contrasty and really processed. If you're taking it in front of the sun, then the picture looks less processed, but the Oneplus 7 Pro does look more natural overall. The portrait mode on the back camera, I do notice that you get more background blur on the Pixel 3a than the Oneplus 7 Pro. After you take the picture, you can still do some edits on the Pixel 3a, whereas on the Oneplus, I don't really see an option for that. Another difference is the colors. On the Pixel 3a, things look more natural and more neutral. The colors seems to be more controlled. Whereas on the Oneplus, the colors, especially the greens, do pop a lot. The vibrance is there, it looks more punchy. A lot of people might like this look straight off the bat, and overall the colors do look brighter. Portrait mode is not all that perfect. Sometimes the Pixel doesn't capture portrait mode, and sometimes the Oneplus doesn't capture it. But my overall portrait mode experience is still better on the Pixel 3 because it's more of point and shoot, whereas on the Oneplus 7 Pro you would have to move around to see the depth effect to work, and sometimes that would take forever. For the back cameras, the Oneplus 7 Pro does have 3 cameras while the Pixel only has 1. I do notice the ultra wide angle, the colors is really inconsistent in terms of switching it back from the ultra wide to the main sensor on the Oneplus 7 Pro. From the main sensor to the telephoto lens, things seems to be more consistent, and since the Pixel doesn't have a telephoto lens, I decided to zoom in and still compare the differences. And surprisingly, zooming in on the Pixel 3a, the picture still comes out pretty clean, but it is over sharpened. For the colors, it's the same thing as portrait mode. I feel like the Oneplus 7 Pro does have the better pop than the Pixel 3a, except for the ultra wide angle, which can go either way. Sometimes it can be too orange and sometimes it can be too blue or too green. So if you're too picky about the colors, then the ultra wide angle is like a gamble. For HDR, I am leaning towards the Oneplus 7 Pro, but there are sometimes the Pixel 3a does do a little bit better job. And the Oneplus 7 Pro, their pictures tend to be on the brighter side. When you do take a good even HDR picture on both of these cameras, sometimes the Oneplus 7 Pro does give off a weird color shift. For the highlights, the Pixel 3a does look like it gives more of the control and it toned it down so it gives off a whole even look in this picture, while the Oneplus 7 Pro, you can tell that the sun is a little bit too glaring. So the highlights on the Oneplus 7 Pro can be a bit too hot, and maybe some photographers like to tone it down to get to the pixel level of contrast. For low light, for me, the Pixel 3a wins all the way. The ultra wide angle doesn't produce enough light, and it does cause weird flares when you're pointing at light source. Comparing these two, there's clearly a lot more noise and artifacts going on with the Oneplus 7 Pro, whereas the Pixel 3a, it looks really clean. Well, compared to the Oneplus 7 Pro, it looks really clean, especially the telephoto lens or even zooming in with the Pixel 3a. I thought zooming in with the Pixel 3a would be a little bit worse because you are using more digital processing. But throughout the whole night, the Pixel 3a is way cleaner than the Oneplus 7 Pro. Even my whole low light experience of taking pictures with the cameras, the Pixel 3a is definitely more snappy and more responsive. For portrait mode, the 3a wins again because for one, obviously it creates more background blur, and second, the Oneplus 7 Pro really needs you to move around even more than daylight to get that depth effect to work. And when it's too dark, it will tell you that more light is required, whereas on the Pixel 3a, most of the time it works just fine. For their own night modes, definitely the Pixel 3a I think still comes out a bit more cleaner and sharper, but at least they both work, they both get their brighter picture within that mode. Now for the Oneplus 7 Pro's night mode, you really need to stay really still. If not, then the picture would come out slightly blurry. And if you happen to move right after you press the shutter button, then the picture will most likely come out really blurry. And in real life situations where the wind is too strong or you're just really cold, your hand is really shaking or shivering, then you really can't take a nice clear picture on the Oneplus 7 Pro. So whether if you're moving or the leaves or whatever you're taking is moving, then it's most likely going to come out blurry. Moving on to video, for stabilization, they both do really good. But when you start panning or moving around, that's when I notice on the Pixel 3a, it does more of the robotic jerkiness. So being more natural or even look like closer to a gimbal, the Oneplus 7 Pro does, I think, does have the better stabilization. For the colors on the Oneplus, everything seems to be much more warmer, the orange does have more pop, and it does seem like you have a slight green tint to it as well than the Pixel 3a. For the Oneplus, it does offer you 4K 60, which doesn't have stabilization,
but if you do want to shoot high frame rate stuff, you can slow it down in post. For the Pixel 3a, it doesn't offer that. Max it can go is 4K 30. For low light, both of these don't look good at all. You can see tons of micro jitters, but if you look really closely on the OnePlus 7 Pro, the micro jitters seems to wobble a little bit more than the Pixel 3a. So overall, because of the more wobble or more shake on the OnePlus 7 Pro, I think the 3a does come out a little bit cleaner. So either way, they're both not good, and I would just avoid shooting in low light. Especially if you're thinking about 4K 60, don't even, because you can see a lot more noise and artifacts showing up. So overall, the OnePlus 7 Pro is a good camera if it's taken in daylight. Once you switch it to low light, that's when a lot of things change. You see a lot more noise, and overall just the performance. Once you snap a picture, you want to stay really still. If not, then your picture will not come out clear. On the Pixel 3a, it's a good phone camera. Overall, it does have its weak points, but all day the performance is really snappy. So that is my comparison between these two phones. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later.